muted until you are called upon or want to speak. Yeah, and it looks like we are ready to go. So, well, good morning, everybody. The meeting of the 89th Annual House of Delegates will please come to order. Please join me in a moment of silence for those members who have passed on this year. Thank you. Please turn to agenda item 2, announcements. Are there any announcements?
There are no announcements.
Thank you. The parliamentarian for the meeting is Kathy Hansen from Minnesota. If there is no objections, these members serving as chairs of committees or task forces or as representatives of ASCLS who are not also delegates will have the privilege of the floor as necessary for the purpose of giving information relative to a report. Members of the staff of the executive office shall also be granted the privilege of the floor as needed. Hearing no objection, permission is granted. I would like to introduce the ASCLS Board of Directors. Maddie Josephs, President-elect. Kyle Riding, Secretary-Treasurer. Roslyn McQueen, past President. Lisa Hochstein, Region 1 Director. Nadine Frederizeski, Region 2 Director. Janelle Chiacera, Region 3 Director. Elizabeth Warning, Region 4 Director. Jean Bauer, Region 5 Director. Kim Von Assen, Region 6 Director. Stephanie Mahane, Region 7, Claude Rector, Region 7 Director. Stephanie Mahane, Region 8 Director. Therese Abreu, Region 9 Director. Kristen Kroon is Region 10 Director. Elizabeth LaForce, Ascending Professional Director. And Ika Gunlack, Developing Professional Director. I would like to introduce the ASCLS staff. Jim Flanagan, Executive Vice President. Melanie Giusti, ASCLS Director of Professional Development. Andrea Hickey, ASCLS Director of Membership Services and PACE. Julia O'Donnell, Director of Marketing and Communications. Michael Covage, Meetings Management. And Marilee Peterson, our Registrar. I would like to recognize all members of the Society who serve as active duty or retiring military. We want to thank you for your service to our country and our profession. How fitting as we get close to Independence Day, so thank you very much. I would like to remind everyone that those speaking will be granted courtesy with respect to their comments and opinions. We are here to conduct business in the best interest of the Society. Speakers should present in a constructive and positive manner. Please remember to speak clearly and distinctly when recognized so that everyone will have no difficulty hearing your name, affiliation, and the business to be discussed. You will not be unmuted until you raise your hand and are recognized by the chair or speaker of the House. There is an adjustment to the preliminary agenda that was distributed to all the delegates. Items related to recommendations from the position paper task force should appear under board reports and have been moved from new business. So please turn to agenda item 2A, President's Report. Mr. Flanagan, are you ready to show my video?
I am. Just give me a second. Hold on. I'm trying to get. There we go. Okay. Screen share.
Wow, what a year it's been. Last year, I introduced you to the Johnson Bunch, never imagining that this extremely shy youngest member of the family would serve as the 2019-2020 American Society of Clinical Laboratory Science president. It has been an honor and a privilege to have worked with so many talented and dedicated medical laboratory professionals. Thank you for your guidance and support during some challenging times. Our unique clinical objective states that ASCLS exists to advance the expertise of clinical laboratory professionals who, as integral members of interprofessional healthcare teams, deliver quality, customer-focused, outcomes-oriented clinical laboratory services through all phases of the testing process to prevent, diagnose, and monitor and treat disease. A year ago, I challenged you to find your why. What is your passion as it relates to the practice of clinical laboratory science? Many of you did just that, displaying the reasons that you chose this remarkable profession. The societal year started off with the ASCLS Board of Directors, committees, and task forces focusing on three major strategic pillars of community, knowledge, and advocacy that support our unique clinical objective. I encourage you, if you have not done so already, to spend time on the ASCLS website to see all the great work that these members have accomplished during this past year. Thank you to all our volunteers, for without you, we would not have succeeded in achieving significant milestones outlined within our strategy map. Hindsight is 2020 sums up the past 6 months. At the end of February, many of us were able to spend time together learning and networking as there was record-breaking attendance at the Clinical Laboratory Educators Conference in Orlando, Florida. Little did we know that this may be the last time that we would be face-to-face as a laboratory community for who knows how long. Yes, the coronavirus, also known as SARS-CoV-2 and widely referred to as COVID-19, would disrupt both our personal and professional lives. But you, my fellow colleagues, were up to the challenge throughout this pandemic. As the laboratory community was thrust into the spotlight, you continued to share your story using social media and various other platforms to educate healthcare providers, the public, and our government officials on the essential work we do every day. But most importantly, you have been a patient advocate, assuring that the healthcare team members have the necessary laboratory information to prevent, diagnose, monitor, and treat disease. Remember, you make a difference. Our work is not done. Like many organizations, ASCLS has had diversity and inclusion at its core, but discussions and statements must lead to action. As laboratory professionals, we see the dramatic socioeconomic, and healthcare disparities in outcomes for some patient populations. We have reported the devastating and disproportionate effects COVID-19 has on people of color, but our work has also documented the scourge of chronic disease ravaging those same communities. We work in partnership with our colleagues in emergency medicine to save lives impacted by violence, which is another tragic outcome of discrimination. ASCLS and the rest of the laboratory community have much work to do. Can we count on you to assist with this important effort? I want to conclude by first thanking all the ASCLS leaders for your commitment to our profession, whether you volunteer at the local, state, regional, or national level. Together, we will continue to strengthen our professional organization. We are ASCLS, one voice, one vision. My laboratory family, you are my heroes and lab coats. Thank you to those who work in the public and clinical health laboratories, to the laboratory leaders who continue to support and provide guidance to their teams, to those working in industry trying to get us the much needed supplies, to the educators who continue in the mission of teaching the next generation of laboratory professionals, and to the students who have continued in your studies, for which many of you have graduated. Congratulations, we salute you. I want to leave you with this tribute for the tireless work you do and the daily impact you have on others. Your work has not gone unnoticed. Tears flowing indeed. You understand why, I just want to say thank you, why I recorded it. I wanted to use the song Wind Beneath My Wings. So if you haven't seen that, but we had a copyright issue. So thank you, Julia, for adding the music at the end. But you guys, you truly are my heroes and laugh hearts. So thank you very much. And it's been a pleasure working with you. And I look forward to working with you in the future. So thank you very much for this opportunity. It is with great pleasure and pride that I introduce Suzanne Campbell from Kansas, who will preside as Speaker of the 2020 House of Delegates. Suzanne.
Welcome, everyone. Cindy, thank you for such a wonderful tribute. I'm going to take a deep breath and we'll move on. Please turn to Agenda Item 3, Rules and Minutes, specifically Item 3A, Standing Rules. The Speaker will entertain a motion.
I move to adopt the standing rules for the House of Delegates as found in the House agenda packet for this meeting.
Is there a second?
Second, Golab, Wisconsin.
Second, Golab, Wisconsin. It has been moved and seconded that the standing rules be adopted. Is there discussion? Hearing none, this will be your first question. All those in favor, click on the yes button on your participant list. All those opposed, click on the no button in your participant list. Cindy, I don't see numbers. You or Jim have access to that?
The motion passes 125 to 0.
The ayes have it and the rules are adopted. Please note the standing rules most pertinent to this meeting. Rule 3. Any standing rule may be suspended at any time by a 2/3 vote of the House of Delegates. Rule 5. No new business may be introduced into the House of Delegates unless authorized by consent of 2/3 of the members of the House of Delegates present on the floor of the House at the time of the vote. If such consent is not obtained, the matter shall be referred without further consideration to the proper standing committee or special committee. Rule 7. Unless otherwise defined, whenever a 2/3 vote is required for passage of any proposition, it shall mean the votes cast in favor of that passage shall total 2/3 of the votes cast, except that passage of amendments of the bylaws or an order for revision of the bylaws shall require a 2/3 affirmative vote of the accredited members of the House of Delegates, certified as presented by the Credentials Committee at the time of the vote on the respective amendment or order for revision. Rule 8. When a majority vote is required for passage of any proposition, it shall mean that the vote is more than half of the votes cast. Rule 9. In order to be granted the privilege of the floor, a member must raise their hand and, once unmuted, address the chair and give his or her name and constituent society affiliation. Rule 10. A member may speak not more than twice and for not more than 3 minutes each time on the same subject on the same day. Rule 11. All motions shall be in writing and given to the chair of the House, who gives them to the secretary after presentation. We will understand this to be electronic submission through the online motion link previously distributed. Rule 18. Delegates must check out at the credentials desk when leaving the House of Delegates while it is in session. If substitutions by an alternate is desired, arrangements for an accredited alternate must be made at this time. Because of the unusual nature of this virtual meeting, we need to suspend Rule 18 for this meeting. The chair will entertain a motion.
I move to suspend Rule 18. Be it noted, the virtual nature of this meeting of the ASCLS House of Delegates does not involve a credentials desk as stationed in face-to-face meetings.
Is there a second?
Second, Josephs.
We have a motion to suspend Rule 18, which has a second. Is there further discussion? All those in favor, please vote when the poll launches. You have 60 seconds.
The motion passes. Suzanne, just a point of order, the poll is not allowing more than 51 votes for some reason. So we're going to have to use the yes, no buttons. We won't be able to use the polling moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Please turn to agenda item 3B, minutes. The 2019 House of Delegates. The minutes of the 2019 House of Delegates were posted online in the House of Delegates page. These minutes have been approved by the 2019 Minutes Committee, reviewed by the Board of Directors, and are on file in the Executive Office. Please turn to agenda item 4, House Affairs Committees. The chairs of these committees are listed on the ASCLS website under House Appointments on the House of Delegates page. Additional members on these committees are asked to turn on their cameras as I announce the committee to be recognized. Minutes Committee. Please turn on your cameras if you're a member of the Minutes Committee. Thank you. Credentials Committee. Thank you. Sergeant at Arms. Okay. And Elections Committee. We thank all of you for your willingness to serve. Please turn to agenda item 4A, Credentials Committee. The chair of the Credentials Committee is Charlie Franson from Colorado. Is the chair of the Credentials Committee prepared to give a credentials report? Ms. Franson.
Yes. Charlie Franson, Credentials Chair. Speaker Campbell, President Johnson, ASCLS Board of Directors, ASCLS House of Delegates. Of the possible 281 delegates, including the Board of Directors, as determined by the membership list of April 30th, 2020, 205 were credentialed, 178 registered for the House of Delegates. Currently, there are 172 potential participating in the ASCLS House of Delegates. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. Please turn to agenda item 4B, Elections Committee. The chair is Charlotte Romaine from Minnesota. Does the Elections Committee wish to make an announcement relative to this? Ms. Romaine.
Yes, Charlotte Romaine, Elections Chair. I want to announce that the ASCLS 2020 elections were conducted electronically on June 30th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and the results are as followed. President-elect Hazan Aziz. Region 2 Director Stacy Robinson. Region 9 Director Candace Stager. Region 10 Director Kristen Kroom. Judicial Committee, 2-year vacancy Barbara Schneiderman. Judicial Committee, 5-year term Cheryl Caskey. Nominations Committee, Josh Polito and Pat Tilley. And in the Ascending Professionals Forum, the Ascending Professional Forum Vice Chair is Cheyenne Reyes, and the Secretary is Crystal Yu. In the Developing Professional Forum election results, the new chair is Kate Hadlich, Vice Chair Sarah Oswald, and Secretary Heather Harrington.
Thank you for that report. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your duly elected board and committee members and the chair of the Developing Professional Forum. Please turn to item 4C, minutes. The chair of the Minutes Committee is Janice Conway-Clausen from Minnesota. Please turn to item 4D, Sergeant at Arms. The Master Sergeant at Arms is Gwen Schwerdell from New York. Please turn to agenda item 5, Board of Directors report. The ASCLS Secretary is Kyle Writing. Is the Secretary prepared to present a report?
Yes, Madam Speaker. I move that the 2020 House of Delegates repeal the position paper titled Personnel.
Is there a second?
McQueen, second.
Discussion. Was Deb going to speak to this?
Susan, can you see the participant list?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, well, I have Susan Eidings, and maybe she was the second, Deb Rodahl. I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, would you like me to speak to this motion?
Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Deb Rodahl. I am chair of the position paper task force from ASCLS. And this group has been tasked with reviewing the older versions of position papers to see which ones should be modified or which ones maybe need to be, in our term, was sunset. And the terminology that has been submitted to the House is that we suggest that the position paper for personal standards be repealed. Task force is recommending that elements of this position paper be included in a modified version of our scope of practice paper, which would then be renamed Scope of Practice and Personnel Standards for the Society. So that is our recommendation, that this paper is repealed.
Susan Eidings, did you want to speak to this, or I still see a hand raised?
I would like to see Susan Eidings from Minnesota. I move to amend the motion to replace the word repeal with retire. And the reason, go ahead. The reason being is the use of the term retire is more consistent with past practices of ASCLS. Repeal suggests disagreement with the original position, such as repeal of prohibition, while retire suggests an outdated position.
Do we have a second for the amendment?
I'll second. Justin Hennenberg, California.
All right. Further discussion, Linda Smith?
Smith, Texas, and past president. I too was going to suggest that repeal was not the appropriate word, that retire or sunset would be more appropriate.
Additional discussion. Hearing none, we'll call for a vote on the amended motion. Secretary Writing, would it be possible for you to read that back to us, please, prior to the vote?
My leaves from the other day.
Speaker Campbell, just
Point of order. Point of order. We're voting. Are we voting on the amendment proposed, not the motion as amended?
Vote on the amendment first.
Thank you.
Proceed, please, Secretary Writing.
So Speaker Campbell, it would appear that the amendment, Iddings moved to amend the motion to replace the word repeal with retire, with it be it noted, this term is more consistent with past practice in ASCLS.
Thank you, Secretary Writing. Please, at this time, if you are in favor of the amendment, click on the yes button. If you are in opposition, click on the no button.
Suzanne, can you see the vote or do you need me to tell you what it is?
I can't see the vote, Jim.
Okay.
Thank you.
The vote is 144 yes, 1 no.
Okay. Next, I will call for a vote on the amended motion, or the motion as amended. So all those in favor of the motion as amended, please click on the yes button. All those opposed, please click on the no button.
The vote is 152 yes, 0 no.
Thank you, Jim. Secretary Writing, the next motion, please.
Absolutely. I move that the 2020 House of Delegates repeal the position paper titled phlebotomy.
Do I have a second?
Combs of Kentucky seconds.
Combs of Kentucky second. Discussion? Susan?
Trying to get my video. Okay. I would move to amend the motion to replace the word repeal with retire as before, suggesting the same disagreement for the original position.
Do I have a second for the amendment?
McQueen, second.
McQueen, second. Further discussion? Deb Rodall, your hand is up.
Sorry, this could wait till after that motion is completed. I just would like to explain the rationale for the motion.
Okay. So seeing no other hands raised, we'll call for a vote on the amendment, which is basically the replacement of the word repeal with the word retire. So all those in favor, please click your yes button. All those opposed, please click your no button.
The vote is 152. I'm sorry. The vote is 153 yes, 0 no.
Thank you, Jim. So now we will return to the vote on the motion as amended. All of those in favor of the motion as amended, please click on the yes button.
Wait. I think Deb wanted to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry. Deb Rodall.
Thank you. I just would like to note that the same with this particular position paper for phlebotomy, that we would like to have that component also included in the, have that also included in the scope of practice and personnel standards position paper, as well as their laboratory positions.
Is there further discussion?
Rebecca.
I need a hand raised for anyone else that would like to speak. All right, seeing none, we'll call for a vote on the motion as amended. Secretary Writing, could you please repeat that for us?
The motion as amended, Speaker
Yes,
Campbell?
please.
Absolutely. I move that the 2020 House of Delegates retire the position paper titled phlebotomy, and that's the motion as amended.
Thank you, sir. All those in favor, please click on the yellow button, or on the yellow button, the green button, yes. And the if you are in opposition, the red button, no.
The vote is 152 in favor, 1 against.
All right, thank you. Next motion, Secretary Writing.
I move that the 2020 House of Delegates repeal the position paper titled managed care.
Do I have a second? Deb Rodahl?
Second, McQueen.
Thank you. I can't make a second, sorry.
I just saw the hand, I'm sorry. Okay, so Deb, yes, you would like the opportunity to speak to this.
Yes, thank you. So the managed care position paper is a bit outdated. It is probably the earliest iteration of healthcare reform out there. And so our recommendation is that that paper would be repealed, although there's components of that that might be nice background for the healthcare reform position paper.
Thank you, Deb. Any other discussion? Susan?
She's muted.
You're still muted, Susan.
I move to amend the motion to replace the word repeal with retire.
There's no talking going back to work.
I second Susan's motion. Alexa from Delaware.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second for an amendment to the motion. Secretary Writing, would you please read the amendment?
Absolutely. Iddings moved to amend the motion to replace repeal with retire. Be it noted, this term is more consistent with past practice in ASCLS.
Thank you very much. All those in favor of the amendment, please click on the green button for yes. Please click on the red button for no.
The vote is 153 yes, 0 no.
Thank you, Jim. We'll ask for a call for a vote on the motion as amended. Secretary Writing, could you please read that for us?
Sure. The motion as amended is, I move that the 2020 House of Delegates retire the position paper titled managed care.
Thank you. All those in favor, please click on the green button yes. All those opposed, please click on the red button no.
Speaker Campbell, if I may, I hope
Yes,
I'm not fine. I think we need to clear the yes or no buttons before taking that vote, because it's kind of fluctuating and you might want to recall the question at the moment. I'm sorry to have interrupted.
Nope, not a problem. Okay. So Jim, are we clear to call again?
We are clear. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. We're going to ask for a vote on the motion, a motion as amended. All those in favor, please click on the green button yes. All those opposed, click on the red button no.
The vote is 152 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you. Secretary Writing, the next motion, please.
I move that the 2020 House of Delegates repeal the paper titled Healthcare Reform Resolution.
Second, Perry, Scanlon, Tennessee.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor. Deb Rodall, please speak to this item.
Yes, thank you. So this particular document was approved back in 2009 and really appears to be an older version of our healthcare reform position paper. So it's our committee's or task force opinion that this one should also be repealed.
Any further discussion? Susan.
That was fast. That's from Marie Lean.
Iddings from Minnesota. I move to amend the motion to replace the word repeal with retire, as it's more consistent with past practices for ASCLS.
Thank you. Chastity, I see your hand raised. Is that for discussion or a second for the amendment?
I was going to make the same motion, so I second.
Okay. Discussion on the amendment. Seeing no hands raised, we'll call for a vote on the amendment as presented. Secretary Writing, would you please share that with us?
Absolutely. Iddings move to amend the motion to replace repeal with retire with a be it noted regarding consistency with past practice.
Thank you. All those in favor, please click on the green button for yes. All those opposed, please click on the red button for no.
The vote is 154 yes, 0 no.
Thank you. The next motion, please, Secretary Writing.
I move that the 2020 House of Delegates adopt the position paper from the Board of Certification entitled Standardizing the Professional Title of Medical Laboratory Professionals.
Order, we never voted on the actual motion.
My apologies. We'll call for a vote on the motion as amended. All those in favor, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no.
The vote is 157 yes, 0 no.
Again, my apologies to the delegates. Secretary Writing, your next motion, please.
Thank you, Speaker Campbell. I move that the 2020 House of Delegates adopt the position paper from the Board of Certification entitled Standardizing the Professional Title of Medical Laboratory Professionals as a Position of ASCLS. Be it noted, adoption of this position paper has been recommended by the Board of Directors and ASCLS representatives to the ASCP Board of Certification.
Do I have a second?
Von Ossen, second.
Von Ossen, second. Do we have discussion? Linda Smith, please.
Smith, past president, Texas, and also one of the 4 representatives to ASCP from ASCLS. I wanted to provide just a little bit of background on this, if I might, and also something that will be carried through but was not appropriate to be placed into the position paper. This position paper was initially started about almost 2 years ago. Jim Flanagan and President Johnson met with Pat Tanabe, the executive director, and myself at CLEC, and then the board did have an opportunity to see it for suggested changes at the interim board meeting. What I want to do is tell you that this also went out to other members of the Board of Certification for them to sign on in support. And at this point, AABB, ASM, the ASCP itself, American Association of Pathology Assistants, American Society of Cytotechnology have all sent approval in. We're waiting to hear. I think AGT was going to approve it this week. So that's the first item. So we do have some broad support from members of the Board of Certification. But this is what I have from Pat Tanabe. For those individuals who were certified as MT-ASCP prior to 2004 and who have not completed the ASCP Credential Maintenance Program, which automatically changed their designation to MLS, we propose these individuals be transitioned to the MLS designation by ASCP. We will distinguish the MLS who are not under mandatory credential maintenance from those who have by the CM designation. To change the MT to MLS will require significant Board of Certification resources. However, the ASCP Board of Certification feels the benefits in standardization of the title and credential of our profession far outweighs the organizational cost to implement this change.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Chasity Combs.
Combs from Kentucky. I would like to suggest that if it hasn't already, it may have, that the paper also be suggested for a change of those who have been certified through American Medical Technologists, that their designation also be changed from MT-AMT to MLS-AMT to further standardize in the profession.
Thank you. Linda Smith.
I do not believe that is in our purview since they were not certified by ASCP and this is a joint position paper. They may be approached at a later date, but at this point, this is the position of our two organizations, the major certification group and the major professional organization with for medical laboratory science.
Thank you, Linda. Ann McLane. Ann, you have your hand up. Would you like to speak?
I sure do. I think I need a clarification about our being able to do if we have not received this within the required 60 days of approving something like this. And maybe I missed that as a discussion at the very beginning when we were talking about the standing rules. Just help clarify that for me, please.
Jim or Cindy, can either of you speak to that, please?
I think actually Kyle can speak to it better because he'd outlined it all before we moved in this direction.
Thank you.
And I would also defer to our parliamentarian as well. So Kathy Hansen, please do interject if I misspeak or do not add enough detail. When looking at the standing rules of the House of Delegates, when it comes to position papers being presented to the House, they can be added to the agenda of the House at the board meeting that occurs before the annual meeting of ASCLS. Therefore, this was passed and referred on Sunday by the board. And so it does meet the criteria to be included in the Board of Directors reports. Now, the 60-day prior window actually applies to candidates presented by nominations and accepted by the board for distribution and to bylaws amendments. However, it does not apply to position papers being brought forth as new business. And it's not being brought forward as business on the agenda. I shouldn't use the word new business.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Secretary Writing, for that explanation. Tony Okada, you have the floor.
Okay, I had a question about those people like myself who originally were MT ASCP and then transitioned to MLS because I am participating in the CMP program, but I'm not under the mandatory CMP program. So I just was curious about, there's going to be a distinction between those two, but you know, I am using the MLS CM designation.
Linda
and then
Smith.
my other question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tana, go ahead.
My other question was at the very beginning, when it says the position paper focuses on the title for those with a baccalaureate degree, some MLTs do have baccalaureate degrees. So I thought maybe there should be specific mention of MLT so that it's a little more correct.
Linda Smith, would you like to speak to this, please?
Yes, I will. First of all, if you are participating in the continuing education program, you do use the CM credential after your name. You will continue to do that. The MLS without the CM will be applied to those people who are not participating in continuing education. As to your second point, there is a note in there that says that we are not, how should we say, we are not addressing the title of MLT since that is a defined title. And yes, they may have a baccalaureate degree, but their credential is MLT, and will remain that.
Yes, I understood that. It just was at the very beginning when you read it. I just thought maybe that should be mentioned right there, that we're talking about MLT with associate degree.
And I will say, I don't know that we can exactly change that, but certainly when this comes out, there can be perhaps notes for clarification. And I did write that down, and I will take it back for when this is essentially published as a joint publication. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Mechelle Reeve.
Hi. Along those same lines, I was just wanting to say that with the new degree of DCLS, I believe that should also be changed to DMLS to keep consistent with the MLS naming. I know there's not very many programs out there, not very many graduates yet. So before we continue to get more and more graduates, I think it would be beneficial to our profession to have this also considered, to have the DCLS changed to DMLS. Thank you.
Thank you, Mechelle. Linda, do you want to speak to that?
I was just going to say that becomes a designation that is out of the purview of this paper. All right, this paper is addressing the MLS designation so that we are no longer referred to as MT, lab tech, etc. It is concentrated only on MLS. Should such a choice be made, it would have to be up to this organization and the DCLS programs to initiate that as a separate entity, because then you're getting into the idea of what is clinical laboratory science and does it incorporate everything versus the title MLS, which refers to those of us that are generalists.
Thank you. Additional discussion? Seeing none, Secretary Writing, could you please reread the motion?
Yes, Speaker Campbell. I move that the 2020 House of Delegates adopt the position paper from the Board of Certification entitled Standardizing the Professional Title of Medical Laboratory Professionals as a Position of ASCLS, Be it noted, adoption of this position paper has been recommended by the Board of Directors and ASCLS representatives to the ASCP BOC.
Thank you, Secretary Writing. So we have a motion on the floor. All of those in favor, please click yes. All of those opposed, please click no.
The vote is 152 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, Jim. Secretary Writing, I believe there are no further motions.
That is correct, Speaker Campbell. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wish to thank the officers, members of the Board of Directors, members of the staff, Credentials and Minutes Committee, Sergeant at Arms, and the parliamentarian for their help and support in making this year yet another successful House of Delegates. I also wish to express my personal thanks to President Johnson. President Johnson, we are ready to continue with the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker Campbell. Please turn to agenda item 6A, Board of Directors Awards. The Board of Directors would like to honor those individuals who have made a significant contribution to ASCLS this year. Booker T. Washington wrote that success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life as by the obstacles which he has overcome while trying to succeed. Success indeed comes in different forms at different times for different people, but is the sweetest when it comes within the approval, the applause, the rewards freely given by one's peers. It gives me great pleasure to present the following awards. Lynn Williams as the Annual Meeting Steering Committee Chair. This has been an outstanding joint meeting, and we're glad it was a meeting this year virtually. So thank you, Lynn. 2, Dana Bostic, who was our CLEC Chair. Thank you, Dana. Tripit Karu, who is the CLEC Host City Liaison. Thank you, Tripit. Luann Lawrence, Education and Research Fund Chair. Thank you, Luann. And to Linda Goosen, who is the Constituent Society Task Force Chair. Thank you, Linda. And to Rick Panning, who is the Constituent Society Task Force Vice Chair. Thank you, Rick. And to Kathy Doig, Leadership Development Chair. Thank you, Kathy. Melissa Dumlin, who is Membership Committee Chair. Thank you, Melissa. Rebecca Rogers, Nominations and Marketing Communications Chair. We thank you, Rebecca. And George Fritzma, who was a chair of the Choosing Wisely Task Force, now a committee. I want to thank all of you for your contributions to ASCLS. On behalf of the board, on behalf of the Board of Directors, we thank you for all you have done for ASCLS. Next agenda item is installation of officers. So please turn to agenda item 6B. Will the newly elected board members, committee members, and the developing professional directors please get ready to turn on your videos as we, in this particular order. We will have nominating committee, judicial committee, developing professional director, ascending professional director, regional directors, secretary treasurer, president-elect, and president. So at this time, I would ask that all the nomination committee members please turn on your camera. Josh Polito from Minnesota and Pat Tilley from South Dakota. You have been elected to one of the most important yet least heralded of our society committees. You serve to select from all the nominees submitted. Those candidates who make up our final slate for election. The discretion and judgment that you must exercise will have a profound effect on the future of ASCLS. Do you promise to fulfill your committee responsibilities for the next 2 years?
I do.
And Josh is muted, but he says I do. So congratulations and thank you very much. Judicial Committee members, if you could please. We have Cheryl and Barbara Schneiderman. So Barbara Schneiderman from Pennsylvania and Cheryl Caskey from Louisiana. You have been elected to serve on this important committee. As a member of the Judicial Committee, you will be called upon to contribute your knowledge of the society, to request for decisions relating to the constitutionality of issues, and to the committee's function as the final court of appeal for ASCLS. It will be your responsibility to evaluate all of the questions which come before you and to serve ASCLS wisely, impartially, and well. Do you promise to fulfill these responsibilities?
I do.
I do. I can't get my camera to work, but I do.
That's okay. We hear you, and congratulations to both of you. Thank you very much. Professional Developing Director, Katie Hadlock from Michigan. Are you there? Katie, if you're in the room, please turn on your camera. Does anybody see Katie?
I don't think she's in the room.
Okay. Well, we'll be giving her her oath later. So Katie, again, is the Developing Professional Director. We're also proud to announce that Sarah Oswald from Colorado has been elected Vice Chair, and Heather Harrington from Pennsylvania has been elected Secretary of the Developing Professional Forum. Congratulations to these two worthy individuals. All right. Congratulations. Thank you. Ascending Professional Director, Maria Rodriguez from Nevada. Is she present?
I don't see her.
Okay, we will also have her oath later. Regional Directors, if you would turn on your cameras. Region 2 Director, Stacy Robinson from Maryland. Region 9 Director, Constance Stager from Alaska. And Region 10 Director, Kristen Kroom from Hawaii. You have been elected to serve on the Board of Directors of the American Society for Clinical Laboratory Science. In this important role, you will wear two hats, that of a member of the Board of Directors and that of a representative of your region. It will be your duty to communicate society activities to your region and to share with the board the opinions, suggestions, and attitudes of your region. It will be your responsibility to know and understand fully the many areas of ASCLS involvement and the programs initiated as membership services. Your final duty, however, will be to represent the whole of ASCLS as an elected member of the Board of Directors. Do you promise to fulfill these responsibilities? If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you very much and congratulations. Welcome to the Board of Directors.
Thank you.
President-elect Hassan Aziz. Hassan Aziz is from Tennessee. You have been elected to the office of President-elect of the American Society for Clinical Laboratory Science. It shall be your duty to assist the President in ways deemed necessary to familiarize yourself with the responsibilities of that office. As President-elect, you will be asked to represent ASCLS in many areas. It will be your responsibility, therefore, to know and understand fully the many areas of ASCLS involvement and the programs initiated as member services. It will also be your duty to fulfill the responsibilities of the President in the event that she is unable to do so. Do you promise to fulfill these duties to the best of your ability?
I do.
If so, thank you, Hassan, and welcome to the board. Congratulations. President Josephs from Rhode Island. You have been chosen for the highest office in the American Society for Clinical Laboratory Science. This office has been conferred upon those who have proven great dedication and great ability. Those who fill this office must be willing to follow the high ideals of the society and pledge themselves to this society. It will be your duty and responsibility to speak for ASCLS and for clinical laboratory science in all arenas where health and patient care are concerned, and in all sections of the country. Upon your shoulders rests the burden of articulation of society goals and objectives, interpretation of outside activities to the board and the membership, and oversight of the business of the society. Do you promise to uphold these goals and fulfill the duties and responsibilities of the office of President to the best of your ability? At this time, thank you, Maddie. Congratulations. I'm really excited. At this time, I want to present the President's pin. So I'm going to show everybody the President's pin that we are retiring. How do we do this virtually? So those past presidents have worn this proudly. And with that, Maddie, I'm going to have you with the new pin.
Thank you. Cindy. Thank you.
You are welcome. And with my privilege, I want to turn over the gavel to you and wish you the best of luck. I've got your back. I'm here for you, my friend. So take it away, President Josephs.
Thank you. Should I be pinned now?
Absolutely.
This is my husband, John.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome. It's my honor.
And we are excited that Maddie is taking over and that you could be there to support her, because without you, Maddie wouldn't be as successful. So thank you very much. And President Josephs, take it away.
Congratulations.
Thank you, House President Cindy Johnson. To our past President, Roslyn McQueen, you have served the Society with great distinction, patience, and initiative. Your time on the Board of Directors has been marked by substantial growth and progress. You have contributed wise counsel, courage, and leadership. Congratulations on your recent retirement, and enjoy this next chapter in your life as you deserve it. And we are now honored to have your colleagues in the state of Michigan escort you back to your delegation.
McQueen. I am here to escort you back to the Michigan delegation.
I'm happy to come back to
If you don't
Michigan.
mind coming with me, we have a setup for you over here.
Okay, wonderful. Now, who are
Thank
you?
for your
I'm
service.
Caitlin.
Caitlin. Okay. Oh my goodness, I didn't see that. Obviously, I don't even know what's going on in front of my own house.
That was the goal.
We appreciate all of your service on behalf of the ASCLS Michigan on the national level. You've made us all proud. And while our delegation is socially distant, we'll try to bring them here with us.
Okay. That was the one thing I was going to miss about being at the House of Delegates, is being escorted back to my state. And so at least we're being able to do it virtually. So this is wonderful. Oh, and everybody from the board. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your service as ASCLS president.
Okay, and I'm looking forward to coming back to the state and working hard and doing whatever I can to enhance and keep our society viable. I'm really proud of Michigan society, because after having a chance to serve on the Constituent Society Task Force, I'm able to find out how blessed we are in Michigan. We have some excellent talents. We have some very dedicated individuals that have stepped up to the plate to serve as officers. We're not recycling officers. We have people that are in the succession plan. So this is wonderful, and so I am really proud to be a part of the state of Michigan. Thank you.
You're welcome. And we have a gift for you if you would like. A little token on behalf of Michigan.
Oh.
Thank you. Thank you, past President Roslyn McQueen, and thank you to the Michigan delegation for being so creative, and welcome you home. Please turn to item 6C, the Robin H. Mendelsohn Awards. The Robin H. Mendelsohn Memorial Award was established in 1971 to commemorate a courageous young man who struggled for 5 years with
Maddie, your sound has not gone out. We can't hear you.
I apologize.
Now you're back.
Thank you. The Robin H. Mendelsohn Memorial Award was established in 1971 to commemorate a courageous young man who struggled for 5 years with kidney dialysis and 2 transplants during the infancy of transplant technology. The award honors outstanding service and contributions to ASCLS, the ASCLS Education Research Fund, and to clinical laboratory science profession. The recipients of the Mendelsohn Award are Brandy Gonzalez. We want to recognize Dr. Gonzalez for her trailblazing efforts on behalf of this profession as the first ever DCLS practitioner. While becoming the first of anything is a daunting task, Dr. Gonzalez, by any and all standards, has surpassed all expectations that could have been placed upon her. She is an accomplished practitioner and scholar who has assured that the value of laboratory medicine and the DCLS practitioner is heard within her institution and beyond. Her contributions to the body of knowledge and ability to provide impactful continuing education based upon her research to both laboratory and non-laboratory professionals is without comparison. This award is intended to honor outstanding service and contributions to ASCLS, the ASCLS Education and Research Fund, and to clinical laboratory science profession, which is fitting for Dr. Gonzalez. Thank you and congratulations, Brandy. Hilma Roncancia Weimer. Hilma has been very active in ASCLS and has served in many roles at the state, regional, and national level. She served on the ASCLS Board of Directors as Secretary-Treasurer. Hilma has been a mentor and friend to many laboratory professionals throughout her career. Most notably, Hilma has been a special advisor to the Ascending Professionals Forum for the past 6 years and has made a huge impact on the next generation of laboratory leaders. Thank you, Hilma, and congratulations. Our next awardee is Patricia Pat Tilley. Dr. Tilley is a widely respected content expert in the field of medical microbiology and molecular diagnostics. And in 2019-2020 alone, was the lead corresponding author on 4 publications through the International Journal of Biomedical Laboratory Science. She serves as a content reviewer in microbiology in the textbook Medical Laboratory Science Review, which is geared toward helping MLS students prepare for the national certification exam. Additionally, she speaks frequently at state, regional, and national meetings on both microbiology and molecular diagnostics. Thank you, Pat, and congratulations. And lastly, Cindy Johnson, ASCLS Immediate Past President. Cindy Johnson's year as president of ASCLS was no doubt like any other in past memory. The challenges she faced and the demands for her time and expertise during the pandemic saw her balancing her duties to this organization, her work life, and her family life, which she did competently and with grace. We are grateful for her leadership and for her continuing contributions to ASCLS. Cindy.
President Johnson, you're muted again.
There's a ghost in my room making me muted. Did we hear the end of Cindy's Mendelson Award, please?
I believe so.
Okay, good. Please turn to agenda item 6D, President's Acceptance Speech. And at this time, I would like to share my screen.
You should have a share screen button.
All set. Okay, thank you. Thank you, ASCLS Board of Directors and staff, members of the House of Delegates, and all ASCLS members. It is an honor and a privilege, and I am humbled to be here today as the next president of the organization. During my candidate speech last year in Charlotte, I addressed the visibility of both our profession and our organization. I want to assure you all first that as I assume this role, I will work hard to represent this organization, represent it well, and will strive to increase our visibility among other healthcare professionals and the general public. But first, I would like to tell you a little bit about myself and my journey to this point. I come from, well, I don't know what just happened. Hold on. All right. Please bear with me. Okay. I think I leaned on something. But first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself and my journey to this point. I come from the great state of Rhode Island, nestled there between Massachusetts and Connecticut, whose state motto is hope. And yes, Rhode Island is the tool by which we measure the size of all other states of the Union. For example, we can fit 221 Rhode Islands into the state of Texas. But to me, it is home, and we live right across the river from beautiful Providence, Rhode Island, and we have the most beautiful coastlines, and I can't imagine living anywhere else. I invite you all to visit Rhode Island, and I'm offering now to be your personal tour guide when you get here. We will be able to drive from one end of the state to the other in just about an hour or so. I grew up in a very loving and supportive family, the youngest of 3 children, and the only girl. As a matter of fact, I am the only girl on both sides of the family with all male cousins, and the youngest as well. So before you say, boy, you must have been spoiled, I will tell you that yes, I was spoiled, very much so. My parents did not attend college, but there was never any question, nor could we debate if we were going to college. It was a given and it was expected. And they both worked hard and sacrificed much to ensure their children received a college education. My brothers and I were grateful, and we knew how lucky we were. I met John, who you just saw, my husband and my best friend, at a summer job between our sophomore and junior years in college. We worked in a yo-yo factory. I made the yo-yos, and he was in charge of the quality control. You might say it had its ups and downs. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. We married after college and raised 3 beautiful, smart, and successful children who apparently like to look like gangsters. Andrew, who currently is my oldest, and he currently works for the Department of Defense. Lindsay, who married Noah 5 years ago, and she is a director of marketing for a green energy solutions company. And Lauren, the baby, a high school math teacher, who married Brendan just 3.5 weeks ago on June 6th, amid this pandemic, with just 12 people in attendance to witness their nuptials. This was a far cry from the 225-person wedding that we were planning, but it was just about as beautiful a day as you can even imagine. I am so fortunate to have a loving and supportive family. I can always count on them, and I do count my blessings every day. It seems like everybody has a story about how they became interested in this profession, whether through a class they attended in high school or a teacher mentor who encouraged them to pursue the field of laboratory science. I can tell you today that I don't remember how I chose this career, but I did know in the 8th grade that this was the career I wanted. You see, after I moved out of my house, my mother found a book that I made in the 8th grade, and it was called My Me Book. It was an assignment that we received in school, and we had to write about our family, our hobbies, our interests, our dreams, our careers. And on one of the pages of the book, I had to answer what I wanted to be, and I wrote down medical technologist. I don't even know how I knew what a medical technologist was, but there it was in writing. I attended Bishop Keogh High School, where the love of sciences was enhanced by the person I consider my mentor, Sister Diane, who taught chemistry and biology. These were my favorite classes by far. My mother, again my champion, was friendly with a laboratory administrator at a very small community-based hospital in Central Falls, Rhode Island, called Notre Dame Hospital. And she arranged for me to be able to volunteer in the lab. So during my freshman and sophomore years in high school, until I could drive, my mother picked me up from school 2 afternoons a week and brought me to the hospital where I volunteered in the lab. I would go in and they would let me wash glassware. I was in heaven. Over time, the med techs would allow me to look in the microscope and they described cells, what was normal, what was abnormal. And this experience only served to enhance my love of the lab and the profession. After graduating from Bishop Keogh High School, I attended Salve Regina University in beautiful Newport, Rhode Island, one of only 4 schools in Rhode Island and Southeast Massachusetts that offered a major in medical technology. For my clinical year, which I still refer to as one of the best years of my life when I explain it to my students, I attended the St. Joseph Hospital School of Medical Technology in Providence. And here we are, the St. Joseph Hospital School of Medical Technology, class of 1980. After graduation, I started my career at Roger Williams Hospital, now Roger Williams Medical Center in Providence, Rhode Island, in the chemistry department. And after 1 year, I became the clinical instructor and coordinator at the hospital for the MLT students from the Community College of Rhode Island. This is where I discovered my love for teaching. And to be able to combine my passion for this profession with teaching was a dream come true. Several years later, when we started the family, I decided to stay home for a bit to raise my children. And it was during this time that I was contacted by the community college program director and asked if I would teach clinical chemistry while she was on a 2-week medical leave of absence. Again, with my mom's help, who offered to watch my children, I went in and I ended up staying the entire semester. And actually, I never left. I just completed 31 years at the college. And during this time, I received my master's in science from the University of Rhode Island in clinical laboratory science. I am currently the chair of the Allied Health Department, overseeing 9 programs, and the director of the MLT and HT histotechnician programs. One of my biggest regrets is that I was never encouraged to join ASCLS, which was ASMT at the time, as a student and as a young professional. We all knew about ASCP, but my program director, nor any of the laboratory scientists that I worked with spoke about ASMT. I attended conferences and meetings, every one that I could, but I really didn't get a flavor of what the organization did. It wasn't until I was at the college and I was asked to speak at an ASCLS C&E Central New England spring meeting did I see the magic that happened behind the scenes. I joined ASCLS at that meeting. The next year, I was asked to join the meeting committee, so I did. And the year after that, I was elected secretary of ASCLS C&E. The rest, as they say, is history. And as an educator, I make sure that my students are aware of who we are in what we do, and I strongly encourage participation. Which brings us to today. Not to sound cliche, but no one could ever have imagined the challenges and changes that this entire world has seen over the past 4 months. Not one person, not one organization, not one business has been immune to this. We have been dealt a painful reminder that there is so much that we cannot take for granted and so much that we can't control. But through this unprecedented time, medical laboratory professionals have kept on going in their calm and confident demeanor and have continued to work, learn, educate, advocate, and to make a difference. I could not be prouder of my colleagues on the front lines who represent who we are in what we do. For you, for all of us, the patient is at the core of everything that we do. In terms of ASCLS, this was an epic joint annual meeting. There has been so much excitement, positivity, and passion. And while it's not the same as being together, we were still able to enjoy an excellent educational program, and we had fun in between. The competent and hardworking staff, Jim, Andrea, Melanie, Julia, along with Michael and Marilee, deserve our endless thanks for making a seamless transition to the successful format. And please join me in showing our appreciation. And while it took a pandemic, the value of a medical laboratory professional has been highlighted. Yes, there have been many instances that were cringeworthy because we heard that testing areas were being referred to when they should have been referred to as collection areas. And I don't mean to diminish the role of those specimen collectors because they were putting themselves at risk. But we all know that the complex testing is taking place in the lab by competent laboratory professionals. The challenge was to have everyone else understand that. But it was this very issue that brought about a great opportunity. And we saw our laboratories in the news because ASCLS past president Jim Griffin suggested a letter writing campaign to local media, newspapers, highlighting the role of the lab. And many of our letters were published. And this is just a sampling of some of the newspapers and some of the letters that appeared. In addition, our Executive Vice President, Jim Flanagan, has participated in interviews for the LA Times, the PBS NewsHour, NPR, and made the role of medical laboratory professionals quite clear from the start. ASCLS members and staff have participated around the country on state governors' task forces, social media platforms, and on CDC webinars. This is the momentum that we need to keep going. And it takes all of us as ASCLS members and laboratory professionals to do this. We all remember momentum from our physics class as being the product of a moving body's mass times velocity. In this case, I'm referring to it as the driving force gained by the development of the course of events. The world around us has changed, as has ASCLS. And not just because of COVID-19, but because of our changing demographic and our evolving technologies. Professional organizations that don't consistently look ahead, anticipate, and facilitate change will be left behind. Fortunately, ASCLS will not be one of those organizations left behind because of the investments we have made in resources that will ensure our ability to deliver value to our members. We've all seen the unique critical objective in our strategic pillars located on the ASCLS website. This strategic framework needs to be and will be updated to reflect some of the initiatives that the board and the long-range planning committee will be implementing soon. And as you will see, these initiatives speak to each of these strategic pillars. During this past year, the Board of Directors heard much and learned much from the Constituent Society Task Force and has made the decision to helping our state societies a priority. We have known for a very long time that many of our state societies were struggling with issues revolving around leadership, and they needed some guidance with procedural matters. Throughout our long-range planning process, we made the decision to develop guidelines and standards to assist our state societies, to ensure the smooth transition from one leader to another, and to help young leaders as they ascend to their new roles. I am looking forward to collaborating with the Constituent Society Task Force, and I would like to recognize Chair Linda Goosen and her committee, particularly Vice Chair Rick Panning, who served as the liaison to the board. This task force will continue until the end of this calendar year, and I will be appointing leadership and members to a newly formed Constituent Society Standing Committee. It is my hope that this action will support our societies and encourage members, young and otherwise, to step up to leadership roles. Many constituent societies have already expressed interest in piloting a new standardized platform for web hosting. By providing these resources and support to our society members, the benefits will trickle down to every member. The House of Delegates Task Force, whose work will continue this year, has been charged with reviewing the roles and duties of the House of Delegates. While their work is not yet completed, they have been very introspective and are taking this task quite seriously. I look forward to their continued dialogue. And because the Society has invested in the resources and infrastructure necessary to support this, the newly formed Virtual Learning Steering Committee will lead the Society's efforts in virtual learning, which includes webinars and webcasts, all delivered through the ASCLS Learning Management System. The new group will be responsible for coordinating with virtual learning initiatives already underway within other volunteer leadership groups, and for developing curriculum that will identify educational gaps in topics. The ASCLS Emerging Managers Virtual Conference, which we are targeting for the fall of 2020, is another initiative that aligns within our strategic framework. As an entire generation of laboratory professionals retires, and because there are many younger and less experienced laboratory professionals left, and they are being asked to assume management positions, there is a need to help prepare these younger professionals for these new roles. This affordable conference, which will be guided by volunteers, will utilize the resources that ASCLS has in place to hold virtual conferences, just like the successful meeting we held this week. And throughout this week, I heard a common theme from ASCLS members, most notably Director Janelle Chasera, that revolved around the implementation of a town hall. We know other organizations do this successfully. I know many institutions that do this successfully. And I would like to work with the board of directors to institute a virtual town hall to simply engage all ASCLS members, keep them informed, and give them a voice. I encourage participation by all. And as I have indicated to many of you who contacted me personally with regard to our journal, I, along with this board of directors and the journal's editorial board, will do what is necessary to help get clinical laboratory science, our peer-reviewed scientific journal, into an acceptable format. We understand that publishing a journal is one aspect of being a professional society, and we want our members to continue to submit to clinical laboratory science. I would like to thank Editor-in-Chief Dr. Perry Scanlon for all of his hard work on the journal these past few years. We know it was an enormous task, and we owe you a debt of gratitude. To all those members who expressed concern, the board hears you. We share your concern, and we will be taking action. And thank you to those who volunteered to help with this task. I will be in touch. And lastly, while this wasn't not initially part of my presentation, I want to assure you all that, especially after hearing Dr. Leonard Egady's closing keynote yesterday, that ASCLS will use the talent and skills of our members to identify and implement solutions to social disparities in healthcare. Judging by the comments in the chat and the emotions that his talk elicited, we know it is time. And as I said during his introduction, today we get to work. Momentum. There has been such great energy at this meeting throughout the week, and we need to harness this energy and positivity. The board of directors and I will do our part to keep this momentum going, but we will rely on you to continue to spread the word, to spread the energy, and to keep our profession and our professional organization visible. Individually, we have many roles. We are medical laboratory science professionals, we are educators, we are advocates, and we are so much more, spouses and parents and children. But collectively, we are the American Society for Clinical Laboratory Science. I look forward to collaborating with you, and I thank you for having confidence in me to achieve our goals. Thank you very much. Please turn to agenda item 6E, commendations and announcements. I would like to remind delegates making commendations that commendations will only be recorded in the minutes if submitted electronically to the Secretary Treasurer via the forum link you've previously been provided. So, Jim, how do we see our accommodations?
So the people will be raising their hands, and then as you recognize them, I'll take care of it. So you just look over at the participants. They should come up in the order in which they raise their hands.
Okay, so now once again, I'm not seeing, hold on, here we go. Okay, and we will start with Rebecca Rogers from Tennessee.
Thank you. Rogers, Tennessee, Leadership Academy Facilitator. I move that the ASCLS House of Delegates commend the 2020 Leadership Academy graduating class for an outstanding year. The largest graduating class of the LA and the first to execute an entire year of studies, project planning, and project execution virtually. I thank each of you for hanging in there with me. It was a privilege to work with you this year. The Academy participants were Billy Kettleson from Michigan, Cherika Robertson from Arkansas, Cliff Simrot, Virginia, Crystal Austin, Indiana, Elinette Albino Rodriguez, Puerto Rico, Alina Dranova, Minnesota, Hosanna Anyatanwu, Texas, Jasmine Ponte, California, Romy Seltzer, Michigan, Sophia Chandrasekhar, North Carolina, and Stephanie Moore, Alaska. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Perry Scanlon.
Perry Scanlon, delegate, ASCLS Tennessee. I move that Hazan Aziz be commended and honored from the ASCLS Tennessee Society as the newly elected president-elect to ASCLS.
Thank you. It looks like Stephanie Mabry.
Hello, House of Delegates. This is Stephanie Mabry, ASCLS Michigan. Jim, do you have a video?
I do. Stand by. Would you like me to start it?
Yes, please.
Hey everybody, this is Jane Bauer from Region 5, the current director, and this is the Political Action Committee Trophy, or the PAC. Last year at the annual meeting, we won the trophy based on the amount of dollars that we donated to the PAC. While we intend to fully keep the trophy this year, we encourage everyone to donate, and good luck to all of the regions. Go Region 5.
I move that the 2020 House of Delegates commend all our PAC donors for their support of our profession's legislative agenda. Over the course of the joint annual meeting, over $6,000 was donated to the PAC. The results of the year-long region competition are: in third place, Region 8, in second place, Region 4, and in first place, with $2,465 donated, the reigning champs, Region 5.
Woohoo! Go Region 5!
Thank you. Joshua Cannon.
Cannon, Pennsylvania delegate. On behalf of ASCLS Pennsylvania, I move to commend Nadine Fidrzewski for her 6 years of service as Region 2 Director, as well as her continued passion for and dedication to ASCLS and the medical laboratory science profession.
Thank you, Joshua. Stephanie Mahane.
Mahane, Region 8 Director. I move to commend the following Region 8 presidents for their service this year: Tracy Matthews, Colorado; Frankie Marie Hurt, Wyoming; Mary Cobos, Idaho; Kara Bushmaker, Montana; and Chris Duran from Idaho, who served as interim president; and Omar Munez from Utah for their service, commitment, and passion for ASCLS.
Thank you. Eric Stanford.
Hi, Eric Stanford, President of ASCLS Tennessee and Delegate. ASCLS Tennessee would like to move to commend our Keys to the Future awardees for this year. They were Susan Cooper, Robin Latcham, and Andrew Smithen. Thank you.
Mary Ann McLane.
McLean from Delaware. I move on behalf of ASCLS Delaware, proud to be representing our nation's first state, that the 2020 House of Delegates congratulate and applaud the commitment and service these past 6 years of our Region 2 Director, Dr. Nadine Ferdashevsky, who proves that you can actually do 35 things at the same time and still be remarkably productive.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Holly Weinberg.
Weinberg, ASCLS Montana and Region 8 Leadership Academy co-coordinator. I move on behalf of Region 8 to congratulate the 7th class of the Region 8 Leadership Academy on their successful completion of the academy and the rolling out of their project. Lisa Platter, Idaho; Tiffany Ashworth, Montana; Danny Boddicker, Montana; Barbara Harvey, Wyoming; and Erica Buchanan, Colorado, created a volunteer module on the websites of the states in Region 8 and Region 8's website as well that will encourage members in our region to step up and volunteer. Additionally, congratulations to 2019's graduate, Kate D'Angelo, who created outstanding PowerPoint presentations promoting the medical laboratory profession and membership in ASCLS.
Thank you, Holly. Beth Warning.
Beth Warning, Kentucky, Board of Directors, Region 4. I move on behalf of Region 4 to commend Roslyn McQueen for her dedicated service to ASCLS and the Board of Directors. As a region, we would like to present Dr. McQueen with a token of our appreciation, and this gift has been presented at our caucus on Sunday as we welcome her back to Region 4. Thank you for your service, Roslyn.
Thank you, Beth. Kara Bushmaker.
Kara Bushmaker, ASCLS Montana President. I move that the ASCLS House of Delegates recognize Region 8 for hard work and dedication in planning the Intermountain States Seminar 2020 in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, in which you're all invited to attend. The show must go on for the 57th annual IMSS seminar, Roaring into the 20s. The Intermountain States Seminar is a unique convention that started over 50 years ago when the 5 Intermountain states of Idaho, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana joined forces to bring a powerful seminar into being. IMSS is held each fall in the beautiful setting of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. We're fortunate to be able to attend such a renowned event, and this year we'll be roaring into the 20s. We've celebrated the past and reminisced with old friends, but now we're ready to embrace the future and all it has to offer. Join us as we roar into the future at the Snow King Lodge in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, October 18th through the 20th.
Thank you. Wendy Paupart.
Yeah, this is Wendy from Minnesota ASCLS, and I would like to commend Cindy Johnson for outstanding leadership during her time as ASCLS president. I would also like to commend Rick Panning for his Lifetime Achievement Award, Crystal Paul for her Member of the Year, and Ika Gunlack for her Developing Professional.
Rebecca Rogers.
Rogers, Tennessee. I move that the ASCLS House of Delegates commend Eric Stanford for his year serving Tennessee as president, and we are excited to have him continue in this role for an additional year. Thank you for all you are doing to move the state of Tennessee forward. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Stephanie Mabry.
Mabry, Michigan. I move that the 2020 House of Delegates commend Dr. Roslyn McQueen for her tenure as past president, having shared wisdom, guidance, and dedication with the society, and leadership and support with each of us individually. She has made ASCLS Michigan deeply proud to call her one of our own, and we welcome her back with open arms.
Joshua Cannon.
Cannon, Pennsylvania. I move to commend ASCLS Pennsylvania leadership for their mentorship, support, and inspiration during my year as ASCLS Pennsylvania president.
Thank you. Stephanie Mahane.
I move that the ASCLS House of Delegates congratulate ASCLS Montana for receiving 2 awards this year for the Constituent Society website and the Constituent Society Promote the Profession, and also to our Fab 8 from Region 8, Keys to the Future, Mindy Thurman, Colorado, Nicole Selfie, Idaho, Tiffany Ashworth, Montana, Michelle Adams, Montana, Danny Boddicker, Montana, Barbara Harvey, Wyoming, Otto Novato, Wyoming, and Colleen Ricci, Wyoming. Thank you, and we look forward to your support in the years coming.
Thank you. Frank Scarano.
Toronto, Massachusetts, Central New England. On behalf of Leslie Martineau, myself, and all of the rest of the members of ASCLS CNE, we would like to congratulate Maddie Josephs on her presidency of ASCLS. CNE appreciates Maddie's hard work and dedication to ASCLS, and we wish her an amazingly successful year. Thank you, Maddie.
Thank you, Frank. Kara Bushmaker.
Kara Bushmaker, ASCLS Montana president. I move on behalf of ASCLS Montana that the ASCLS House of Delegates recognize our Montana leaders for significant contributions in the following areas: Region 8 Leadership Academy, Danny Boddicker and Tiffany Ashworth; State Society dedication to promotion of the profession and support of the Children's Miracle Network; volunteerism at the highest national level, Holly Weinberg, Susie Zanto, Ashley Ketchum, Joni Gilstrap, Michelle Adams; dedication to our image and representation via the ASCLS Montana website and Susie Zanto; true representation of advocacy, Tori Rensink, our Voices Under 40 awardee; and lastly, a big thank you to the Montana board members and annual spring meeting planning committee. Perseverance in times of great stress and uncertainty make our state small but mighty. Congratulations on the first ever virtual state meeting and the great success that it was.
Thank you. Chasity Combs.
Chasity Combs, delegate from Kentucky. I would like to move that the 2020 House of Delegates commend all of our student members for completing their year and entering clinicals during an unprecedented time during this pandemic. So congratulations to all of our seniors and our juniors for sticking in there.
Yes. Deb Rodall.
Rodall, past president. I move that the ASCLS House of Delegates commend ASCLS past president Cindy Johnson, current president Maddie Josephs, the entire ASCLS board of directors, and our extremely talented and hardworking staff for pulling together what has been an awesome annual meeting experience during extremely challenging times. You all hit a home run on this meeting and how well it came together. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Rebecca Rogers.
Rogers, Tennessee. I move that the ASCLS House of Delegates commend the 2019-20 Nominations Committee, Deb Rodall, Nick Moore, Lisa Bakken, Josh Pulido, and Roslyn McQueen for an outstanding job recruiting volunteer leaders across the nation to run for all of the elected positions within ASCLS.
Thank you. Donna Spanis-Martin.
Donna Spanis-Martin, President-elect of ASCLS Minnesota.
I move to commend Dr. Janice Conway-Clausen for her years of service to ASCLS Minnesota. As she moves to Oregon next week, ASCLS Minnesota strongly recommends that they take good care of her.
Good luck, Janice. Beth Warning.
I move to commend, Beth Warning, Board, Region 4, Kentucky. I move to commend Jim Flanagan, Andrea Hickey, Melanie Giusti, Julia O'Connor, the VJ Meeting Management Team, and the Annual Meeting Steering Committee for their success in transforming a face-to-face national conference into a groundbreaking first-time endeavor of a virtual meeting. Kudos to everyone involved.
Thank you. Stephanie Mahane.
This is my last one, I promise. I move that the ASCLS, this is Stephanie Mahane, Region 8 Director. I move that the ASCLS House of Delegates commend the following Region 8 members on their appointments to ASCLS chairs of national committees. Debbie Schell from Idaho she is now the GAC chair. Susie Zanto, Montana, CCLW chair. Melissa Dumoulin, Idaho membership chair, and Sarah Oswald from Colorado, the vice chair for the developing professionals.
Thank you. William Anong.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, William Anong, North Carolina president. In fact, soon to be immediate past president, I guess tomorrow. I'd like to thank Lisa Crimmins for picking up the mantle from me and for the great job that she did during my tenure as president. I also want to commend Sophia Chandrasekhar for heading up our first place Constituent Society journal publication winner, and for being Voices Under 40, and also for completing the 2019-2020 Leadership Academy.
Thank you. Kara Bushmaker.
Kara Bushmaker, ASCLS Montana President. I move the ASCLS House of Delegates recognize the hard work of all our laboratory professionals battling COVID-19 on the front lines. We value your sacrifice and dedication. And to our fellow Montanans, you're rural but not alone. Please keep up the fight as we head into more dangerous times. Thank you all for being behind the scenes heroes.
Thank you. Abby Wichman.
Wichman, Montana. I move the House of Delegates commend Kara Bushmaker for her reign as Montana ASCLS president. Her passion for this profession is infectious, even more so than COVID, and she has paved a strong path, and I am honored to call her a friend. Thank you for your service.
Kristen Kroom.
Kroom from Hawaii, Region 10 Director. I move that the ASCLS House of Delegates commend the Region 10 2019-2020 State President. For Arizona, Nevada was Tara Kolza. California was Amanda Fulton, and Hawaii was Sherry Gahn. The pandemic has provided the opportunity to display the greatness of ASCLS.
Thank you, Kristen. Jenny Ford.
Oh, hi, Ford from ASCLS Florida. President, on behalf of the Florida Constituent Society, I move that the House of Delegates commend Mark DeLuna for his leadership and dedication to FSCLS. I also move that we congratulate OG Aheto for her consistent dedication and commitment to the FSCLS board in several roles, beginning as the developing professional representative and to the ascending professional, and especially now for reinventing our newsletter, the Florocular, as and becoming the new editor.
Thank you. Laura Sage.
Laura Sage, ASCLS Oregon President.
On behalf of ASCLS Oregon, I move that the ASCLS House of Delegates commend Teresa Brew for her years of service as the Region 9 Director. We appreciate her hard work and kind leadership. We would also like to welcome Constance Stager as our new Region 9 Director. Thank you.
Tracy Matthews.
On behalf of ASCLS Colorado, I move that the 2020 House of Delegates commend Bill Pierce for 50 years of service and dedication to ASCLS Colorado.
Thank you. Lisa Cremans.
Lisa Cremans, North Carolina Society for Clinical Laboratory Science, President-elect. I move on behalf of NCSCLS to recognize and thank NCSCLS past President Sophia Chandrasekhar for her ongoing efforts to promote the profession through her art and creativity and the ongoing support she offers to all of her laboratory colleagues. Thank you for always showing your contagious positive attitude and endless energy.
Abby Wichman.
Wichman, Montana. I move the House of Delegates recognize Holly Weinberg and Susie Zanto for their extra special innovative thought process when putting on our first Montana virtual meeting. Others helped in this endeavor, but these ladies pushed us to make this meeting successful.
Heather Kapsa.
Kabza, Arizona and Nevada President. I move that the House of Delegates congratulate Kristen Kroom on being re-elected to Region 10 Director.
Thank you. Jenny Ford.
Hi, this is Mark DeLuna on behalf of Jenny Ford. I would like to move to congratulate Jenny Ford on receiving one of the ASCLS Voices Under 40 and serving as president for our society for 2 years. I would like to commend all Florida laboratory professionals for their extraordinary professionalism and effort during the pandemic. We also want to commend all Florida professionals who continue their heroic efforts to save the lives of our colleagues, neighbors, families, and friends. In support of your efforts, members of the Florida Society will be working with the Government Affairs Committee of ASCLS to determine the feasibility of developing an appropriate document for a letter writing campaign to our elected political leaders regarding mandated adherence to CDC guidelines. Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa Cremans.
Lisa Cremans, North Carolina Society for Clinical Laboratory Science, President-elect. I move on behalf of NCSCLS to recognize the outgoing President, Dr. William Anong, for all of his contributions to the Society this year, his regular quarterly positive messages to the membership through the filter paper, and for his support of the NCSCLS leadership. Thank you, Dr. Anong, for your hard work and dedication this year.
Thank you. Harry Scanlon.
Perry Scanlon, Editor-in-Chief, Clinical Laboratory Science Journal. I move that the House of Delegates commend Kristen Landis-Pivovar, Teresa Nader, Pat Tilley, and Janice Conway-Clausen for service to the journal as section editors.
Thank you. Rebecca Rogers.
Rogers, Tennessee. I move the ASCLS House of Delegates commend ASCLS Secretary Treasurer Dr. Kyle Riding on an impressive first year in this position. He has done an outstanding job making sure all members have a clear understanding of where we are, the investments we are making as a society, and our plans for moving the organization into the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And Rebecca, your hand is still up, but I think that, yeah. Seeing no other hands raised for commendations, are there any additional? And Justin Hannenberg.
Hi. Justin Hannenberg, incoming president for ASCLS California.
I move that the 2020 House of Delegates commend Kristen Kroom for her continued leadership and dedication to Region 10. Your sustained efforts in being president for the state societies with all of our meetings, both virtual and in person, do not go unnoticed. I also ask to commend Amanda Fulton for all of her efforts in ASCLS California as president this year. There were a lot of times we felt like we were pulling ourselves up from the bootstraps, but looking forward, I see a lot of opportunities to build from that momentum. So thank you. I'm incredibly thankful to be working with you this upcoming year.
Thank you, Justin. And now I see no other hands raised. And are there any additional announcements?
There are no additional announcements.
Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
This is Johnson, so moved.
McQueen, second. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Yay!
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
Aye.
It looks like the ayes have it. And before I adjourn this 2020 House of Delegates, I just want to say to everybody, please be safe and please stay healthy. And I look forward to seeing you all next year. This 2020 House of Delegates is adjourned.